Good morning. Good to see you guys. It's Kirsten Liebelt. How are you? Happy Thursday. It's always so good to see you guys. Jump on in. If you're on the replay, always let me know you're on the replay. I would love to know where you're coming in from. That always makes me so happy. And you guys have been really good about that, by the way. You've been really good about I'm on the replay. So I appreciate you very, very much. Because, it just helps to know where people are seeing my content and all of that good stuff. So if you don't know who I am, which is of course, most people on the entire planet do not, because, you have this little teeny tiny little pond. My name is Kirsten Liebelt, and I basically talk about insulin resistance all day, every day in my inbox, etc. My dad died of type 2 diabetes when he was 63 years old. And I was only 30 at the time, and my kids were 6, 3, and 6 months old. So they completely missed out on an Italian grandpa, all because of a non-terminal diagnosis. Because insulin resistance is not terminal. And they would like us to think we need a team of docs to deal with something that we can reverse with food and supplementation. But in my opinion, not being a doctor, because I'm not, in my opinion, we really can become our own advocates. We can take back our own bodies. But what does that mean for you? Everybody has to answer that question for themselves. What does it mean for you? Today, we're going to talk about inflammation. What does it mean for you that you have less inflammation? What does it mean what does that do for you? I can tell you what it does for me, right? I can tell you that I can walk longer distances. I can spend time with my grandbabies. I can travel. I can get on an airplane and I can go places, and I can not have inflammation welling up in my body and needing to take over-the-counter meds. And there are so many things that it means for me. What does it mean for you? But then it's not just inflammation, it's everything else. So just insulin resistance in general. So when you turn back your insulin resistance, you turn back bad sleep, brain fog, total fatigue, inflammation, belly fat. You turn back all of the symptoms that drive you bonkers about being insulin resistant, and you may have never even heard the term. I spent 25 years, more than that, for sure. It took me 25 years from my first diagnosis of gestational diabetes until I finally actually did something about it. Never hearing the terminology insulin resistance. You guys, this is kind of new to our world that they talk about it this way. So I'm super thankful for the conversation that comes because of the injections, the weight loss injections. I'm so grateful. You have no idea, because now you guys, I can talk about stuff like this and you're like, oh yeah, well, I have heard of that. Somebody's put it in some context for me. So yay. Because now we can talk about it better. Good morning, Kimberly. Hey, Kimberly, did you see on my stories? I did a little something on spaghetti squash. So let me know if you saw that. I did both. And I'm not positive. I think I have to actually practice the air fryer a little better. But I think that it has a lot of potential because it's more roasted and it's more dry, which is preferable, right? When you want spaghetti-like. So anyway. Good morning, Carol. Good to see you. So thank you so much for jumping on. If you're on TikTok, come in from the balcony. We're going to chat insulin resistance today. We do that every day. We're going to talk inflammation and insulin resistance today. And so I want to start out by just talking just a little bit about how does this even happen in our world? Because I think that a lot of people are really confused as to what it means and why do we even get to this place? And why do we wake up and we just kind of feel like trash in the morning? And I think the biggest question, especially for women, you guys, it's what's wrong with my weight? Why can't I lose a single pound? I used to always be able to lose weight. Why can't I lose any weight? Why am I stuck? Why do I keep gaining weight? Why is it all in my belly? All of these questions. And I am telling you what, as I have geeked out over reading stuff, studying stuff over the last handful of years, it hasn't been that long. I started supplementing and trading out my food ingredients in my early 50s, my late 40s and early 50s. I wasn't on my game at all. And now I'm 59, I'll be 60 in January. So I'm just shy of my 60th birthday. And it took me some time to figure it out, blah, blah, blah. I did, whatever, without video and without all the stuff. And, but I'll tell you, the more that I read and the more that I understand and the more doctors that I listen to and the more things that I kind of pour over, the more I understand literally freaking everything is connected to insulin resistance. Now, maybe that's my skewed world, but I don't think so. So that then tells us root cause, foundational conversation, insulin resistance, for which everything else gets to be put on top. And then we can go brain fog and high BP and gout and type 2 and PCOS and fatty liver, not in any specific order, and, heart and da, 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 da. So therefore, inflammation. Therefore, if you change the foundation and you can get these to all come down, like, what? So change out the lenses in which you're viewing your world, do it through insulin resistance, and it'll literally change your life. I don't think I'm being too dramatic. I really don't. But anyway, you'll look through, got your Ignite a half an hour ago. There is not a better time of the day to take it. I take mine in the morning. You could take it whenever you want. There's no caffeine in it. It'll literally just start. You don't feel the thermogenic effect, like you don't get warm in your body, but your cells are. And this is where the fat burning comes from. So you take it. I'd love to know what you think. I mean, it tastes like orange candy pixie stick. Crazy that that's true. And it does not spike your sugars. I've had that tested because that was important to me for everybody asking. Yeah, you're welcome, Kimberly. Okay, so insulin resistance. How does this even happen? And then let's dive into the inflammation part of it, because I feel like that's a very tangible thing that we are not appreciating about our lives. If you wake up and you ache, and you just know that you have a lot of inflammation in your body and you need to get rid of it, and you just feel kind of like trash a lot, we can deal with some of those pieces. So over time, what happens is as we eat a high carbohydrate diet, over long periods of time, our cells become resistant. That's a very short answer to a way more kind of complicated conversation. But the truth is that insulin is a hormone, and your body prefers to burn glucose for fuel. And so when you eat food, no matter what, it's going to turn into glucose. It's supposed to. Good morning. Who's giving me all the love? Thank you. I appreciate you. Hey, Ruthie, good morning. So when you are eating and eating and eating, and this is just our life, you guys, come on. Like, this is what we've been marketed to about. We've been told that Cheerios is heart healthy. That's a lie. We've been told that we're supposed to eat 9 to 11 servings of grain a day. That's a lie. Like, this is trash information. The food pyramid was not made by medical experts. It was made by the agricultural industry. They created it to sell crops. I mean, I don't know how else to, like, I used to try to shy away and try to massage the conversation. There is no massaging the conversation anymore. Like, we were just told that we should be eating a lot of bread and a lot of grain and a lot of grain and a lot of grain, and we should have it in everything. And then we'll take the grain of corn and we'll turn it into corn syrup and we'll put it into everything. So what happens is we just keep on, we give our bodies way more glucose than it ever needed to run. So as our pancreas is releasing insulin to go gobble up the glucose and shuttle it into the cell, now when it's doing it at like lightning speed, I'm sure that it's really not faster necessarily, but in my brain, in my comic brain of like how this would look, like if you animate everything, like it just can't keep up. It just can't keep up. And so it's gobbling up the sugar and it's trying to get it into your cell. But when your cell, there was a day in your world, this is really simplification because I'm not a doctor, but there's a day I always envision in my head where the cells rose up and they just said, door is closed. We are done now. No more insulin and glucose. We're kind of stuffed over here. And that's the day that then the glucose in your blood starts to not be taken care of. So long before your glucose rises and you get that A1C, you get that pre-diabetic diagnosis, your insulin was rising this whole time, and they could have checked that, but they didn't. That's another conversation. So at some point now it can't shuttle it into the cell. It leaves you completely exhausted and gaining weight because insulin is a fat storing hormone. So this is why as women, we're so freaking frustrated. We're just so frustrated because it's like, why do the things that we used to do not work anymore? What is going on? Why is this true? Okay. So I know Kimberly, she just took her first dose of it's an extract. It's a high antioxidant extract, and it's like an orange pixie stick, and you put it in your on your tongue. And she's like, OMG, the taste is amazing. I know. And that's why. So it launched in August, and I'm still working on getting some before and after pictures from some of my friends. And because it helps to burn on your hips and your belly mainly. I'm noticing it on my hips a lot, narrowing. My husband's noticing it on his love handles. But anyway, but because of the taste, I was like, I have to find out if this spikes sugars, because if it does, obviously it's not something that I'm going to use or promote. So I sent it off, and there you go. You can't wait to get yours, Carol. I know. Isn't that crazy? Like, it's so good. Anyway, okay. So we wonder why things aren't working for us anymore. Like, when we used to count points, when we used to, just work our tails off at the gym and all of these things, and it's not working anymore. And it's because we haven't changed the lens. If you will view weight loss through the lens of insulin resistance, you will be so happy. It will change the way that you actually function, because you can get your body to function at a different level, because if your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. If you can bring those down, guess what you can do? If they're high, you can't lose weight. If you bring them down, guess what happens? You're able to finally lose weight. One of my better testimonies, well, not better, because there's really like, how do you gauge? One of my most memorable testimonies is somebody who she was 3 years, she had to bring down her A1C, because when she had an A1C of 13, had a stroke. That's how she got diagnosed with type 2. That's a hard day. For 3 years, she works to bring down her A1C with her doc. She's on a couple meds. She actually even incorporates a couple of supplements, some berberine, some inositol, and she cannot lose 1 pound for 3 years. So frustrated. So she connects with me, and I talk to her about the trio. Those are the 3 supplements with the ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. I talk about them all the time. Actually, I don't even have them all sitting out here. But 3 supplements that help you with insulin sensitivity. Okay, super simple. What I started with 10 years ago. She starts that, and in 2.5 months, her morning sugars come down 30 points. So get the connection here. Her sugars come down 30 points in the morning, which is not always easy to do. That's called dawn phenomenon. And she drops 14 pounds. Because when your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. So that is like the changing out of your lenses. That's the changing out of your glasses and how you're going to view weight loss and everything else. Well, when it comes to inflammation, it's the exact same thing. I feel like we succumb to inflammation. We succumb to brain fog. We succumb to weight gain. We succumb to inflammation. We just are like, well, it's what it is to get older. This is just the way it is. That's not true. That's not true. That's just the current, how do I say this? It's the current poor way. Poor wasn't the word I was looking for, but it's what's coming out. It's the current poor way as an American to get older. But that's not true. So when I know that I'm missing comments over here, you guys, on Facebook. I apologize. StreamYard is weird. Cheryl, it does not spike sugar, Cheryl. You're talking about the orange, the orange antioxidant? It does not. Save it for your sweet tooth need of the day. Yeah, that is for true. Yeah. It's true. I know. And please measure yourself, you guys. Measure yourself. Do something so that we can get testimonies, etc., because that would be very, very helpful. So my grandmother, my mom's mom, from Sweden, 100% Swedish. She loses her husband, my grandpa, very young. He's an alcoholic. He dies in an accident. She is now a widow for a very long time. And she gets remarried to this. This is a really fun story, you guys. So she gets remarried at like the age of 65 to this Swedish man that had never been married before, ever. And they spend, 65, they spend 25 years traveling the world together. Is this not the sweetest thing ever? They spend 25 years traveling the world and doing all sorts of things and living in Florida and doing all of these things. And we're in Minnesota. And that's where she grew up. And that's where my mother was raised. So on a farm. So they do all of these fun things, whatever. He eventually does pass and she outlives him. And then she spends the last 6 years of her life living with my mom in the house that I grew up in a suburb of Minneapolis. She dies at 97 with a clear head playing Scrabble. Okay, like dementia was nowhere in our history of thought process. Like we were shocked that my mother ended up with dementia. Like it didn't make sense because up to that point, we were just told everything is genetic. Like there's nothing you can do. Just keep doing what you're doing, people. It's all genetic, which is a lie. But anyway, so during that time though, that he was alive, when they would come to visit from Florida, this man who was, let's say, if I'm a kid, I don't even know what age he would have been, probably in his 70s. I mean, like, I'm not sure. I'd have to do the math, but probably in his 70s. His idea of fun was to walk, and I mean miles. Like I'm a little kid and I'm like, let's walk to the store that's like 2 miles away. And he goes, okay. So we walked, and at the time it was dirt roads to go like get candy or a soda or whatever. And I was the one who was like, hey, can you like carry me? He's like, I pretty much no. So we walked this whole way, and it was like a long distance. That was normal. That used to be normal. Go back into your memory of family. He obviously wasn't dealing with as much inflammation as we deal with now today, right? So how is this all connected? Well, let me tell you, because this is what I want to talk about. So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the inflammation or the insulin resistance? So let me look. My computer is not as touch intuitive, if that's the word. Chronic inflammation and insulin resistance are really closely linked, and it can be difficult to determine which comes first, as they often fuel each other in a cycle. So which comes first, inflammation or insulin resistance? It's a bit of a chicken or egg scenario. Inflammation first. Chronic inflammation triggered by poor diet, obesity, stress, or other factors can damage cells and interfere with their ability to respond to insulin properly. This can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance first. On the flip side, when insulin resistance occurs due to factors like high carb diets, sedentary lifestyles, it increases blood sugar and fat levels, which can promote inflammatory responses. So chronic inflammation is usually low grade, and it may not always be obvious, but it can present itself in these ways. So how do you know you have a lot of inflammation in your body? That's why even like telling you guys about, good morning, Claudette, good to see you, about the blood orange, the antioxidant powder. Yes, I get it. I get it. Like everybody wants to lose fat. Everybody wants to lose weight. I'm totally with you 100%. But what if that high antioxidant is also helping with inflammation? What if it's also helping with insulin sensitivity? What if it's also helping with other things? Like these are the things that we have to like remember, that we don't always see the positive effects of everything that we're doing, but sometimes they'll show up in other areas. So for instance, when you can start to bring inflammation down, fatigue, feeling constantly tired due to inflammatory stress. Number 2, joint pain and stiffness, especially in weight-bearing joints. Number 3, digestive issues. Bloating, cramping, or irregular bowel movements due to gut inflammation. Oh, have we not been talking about that so much with the gut primer, the gut reset protocol of the gut primer and a probiotic? I love those testimonies because those are people are just, I got another one yesterday, basically just saying, like I'm going to be using it every day because it's really shifting things and we've got to get the inflammation down. So, bloating, cramping, or irregular bowel movements, and we've got to move our toxic waste. Oh, it's such a conversation. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, skin problems. Rashes or acne may appear, often linked to underlying inflammation. And the last one is brain fog. And really think about this one, you guys, because look at, we're not getting younger. We might be getting younger feeling, right? We can get younger feeling, but our age is still going to increase. We can't pause the age, right? So inflammation affects cognitive function, making it hard to focus or think clearly. And you guys, you know what? Insulin resistance, type 3 diabetes, insulin resistance of the brain. My mother had dementia. Stop the insanity. We have to stop. We've got to, if I can talk to one person every single day, if one person listens to me and says, I'm going to do something about my insulin resistance, whether or not you connect with me, whether or not you use my answers, what's been helping me for the last 10 years to lose 3 sizes, whether or not you do anything that is connected to me, but you actually just hear yourself and you say, I can turn around my insulin resistance. I can actually do something about that. And you go on and you do that. And 15 years from now, when you were slated to have dementia and you don't, what a gift for your family. I'm not making any claims. I'm not doing that. But I am just telling you that there is a connection to insulin resistance that keeps on going until it's resistance of the brain. Because cells are cells. Right? So brain fog is one of those. So how it hinders your daily life? Well, I mean, I think it's really obvious, right? Inflammation and insulin resistance creates a cycle of energy crashes, weight gain, especially around your belly, mood swings, and chronic fatigue. This makes it difficult to maintain an active lifestyle. Let's get back to living, you guys. Come on, you can do it. Get back to living and making memories and feeling good enough to be able to enjoy your family, your friends, your grandbabies. Like, let's get back to it. My dad had such a trash decline of his health the last 10 years of his life. He died at 63. That's so young, but he didn't just up and die one day. He had a good solid decade of trash. Heart procedures and surgeries and pacemaker and dialysis and throwing up and meds that wouldn't gel in his butt. Gel is the wrong word, but they wouldn't play nice with each other when he took all of them in the morning, and it took him until noon until he felt good enough to drive a car. Because you have all these meds that are interacting with each other and interfering with each other. And your body's just like, trying hard to function. You don't have to have such a poor quality life. This is not a terminal diagnosis. If it was a terminal diagnosis, I wouldn't be on here talking. I am not a doctor. If you have the C diagnosis, you have to have a team of oncologists. But when you are insulin resistant and you've got belly fat going on and inflammation in your body and you have some brain fog and you just need to turn it around, you can do that. You can do that with targeted supplementation and food ingredient trade-outs. Those are the 2 things that I teach all day, every day. And the testimonies are there. They are there. They are there. Sugar's down, insulin down, 2 separate things. One is blood glucose. One is a hormone. You need both of them to come down, right? Weight loss. People finally feeling better, fighting for your own advocacy. It's very exciting. Hello, Wendy. Wendy. That is Wendy. It's an orange pixie stick that is a high antioxidant, and it helps to, like, you can read up on it on the website. Just type it into the search bar, and it will. It's a blood orange extract, and it helps to reduce your BMI. It literally, it's a fat burner. I'll just say it that way because I don't know the scientific understanding of everything. It's a fat burner. It reduces mostly in your hips and your waist. I've noticed it in my hips. My husband has noticed it in his love handles. It just got launched 60 days ago, but I didn't talk about it a whole lot because I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to spike sugars. So I sent it off to a customer to have her check her sugars. So that's exactly, yeah, that's what we're talking about, Wendy. Well, okay. People were talking about that, but okay, I can't see you've completely off of your blood pressure and cholesterol medications, and now your A1C is 5.1. That is fantastic. Good for you. Good for you. Yes, 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 yes. Do you see how that can inspire other people? So somebody just said that they are completely off of her blood. She's off of her blood pressure medication and cholesterol med, and now her A1C is 5.1. This is doable. This is doable. This happens. Okay, so how to reduce this naturally? Well, I know that for me, I already eat now, which I never did ever in all of my entire life. I think maybe corn syrup was put into my bottle as a baby. An anti-inflammatory diet. That's number one. You do have to change what got you into the pickle to begin with. Now, this is not the first thing that I did. The first thing that I did was I supplemented. I've told you that about my story before because I didn't think that I could trade out my ingredients. I'm Italian. And I remember like in my brain going, yeah, that's pretty much not going to happen. I might be stubborn. So I did not think I was going to trade out my foods. I did. And that is a really big piece of your puzzle because you can eat a low inflammation diet and completely change it. Now, what I love teaching in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, and that's why I put this here for you guys on TikTok. My site is on my profile. You can just go to my profile and click there. It's like just a handful of buttons, not even very many. And you can scroll up and find the Facebook blue button and jump into the group. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. You guys get in there. If you're not in there, get into the group. You will get tagged in a free recipe pantry PDF. And then we have free challenges every month. And the next one will be in November. Like, get yourself resourced and encouraged. It's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity for people to like gather together as women and encourage each other. Anyway, so the food ingredient trade-outs, the reason why I love it is because I thought for sure 100% that I had to stop being a foodie in order to turn back around my insulin resistance, in order to lose the 3 sizes, in order to do all of the things. That is not true. All I had to do was, see, I bet my microphone hasn't been as close as it needed to be. You can actually just take your ingredients and switch them out and make the exact same foods that you were making and still be a foodie and love it. It's a novel concept. I understand that we've been extremely indoctrinated. Just think about everything that we've been indoctrinated with. You have to give up fat and eat trash like rice cakes, which was the worst advice ever on the face of the planet. You have to give up massive calories, and you have to live in this really extreme calorie deficit, which I'm not saying calories don't play a role. I'm just like talking about the different, like the cabbage soup diet, or, we did all of these different, whatever. You have to give up all your time and go to the gym and be on the elliptical for hours at a time and do all of this like cardio and whatever. These are not the proper pieces. There is a way to actually lose fat the right way. And we're not talking weight. Weight could be water, muscle, or impacted waste. We want to burn fat. We want to lose fat. And so the point being that we've been indoctrinated to think a certain way. But when you can trade out your foods and still love your foods, you can bring down your inflammation. You can be enjoying your food and burn fat at the same time when you starve it, so to speak. When you stop giving it sugar to feed on, it'll eventually burn your fat for fuel because it's going to prefer glucose. It wants glucose first. Insulin wants glucose first. So if you give it a lot of glucose, if you're still eating keto bread, which is grain. If you're still eating all the keto snacks, which are usually not keto at all, they're just lying to you, marketing to you. If you're eating, you're still eating the, zero carb tortillas, thinking you're doing something good or whatever. You're still like, you're living on the fringes, you're pushing the envelope. And if you're not losing any weight, that's why, because you're still giving it just enough sugar to fuel your body. And your body's like, thank you. It's all I needed. I don't need to burn any fat today. I'm good. You gave me what I needed. And that's what happens. And it's frustrating. So anti-inflammatory diet, focus on unprocessed foods, rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, and nuts. So this is how I say it. I focus on meat because it's a lot of protein, right? It's a good protein structure, high protein, moderate, really good fat, low carb, not net carb, full carb. Meat, eggs, full fat dairy. If you're going to do nuts, do like an almond flour, right? Or don't overeat nuts. That may or may not be meat. For your fruits, stick to berries. You can even buy organic berries, keep them frozen in the freezer. And then for vegetables, just make sure that they're non-starchy, right? So greens, spaghetti squash. That's the only squash that I eat now, even though I adore a good butternut squash. And none of this is because you have to live in deprivation land. None of this is because you have to punish yourself. This is because it's a hormonal conversation. But in the meantime, as you're eating whole food and you're switching it out so that you stop spiking your sugars, calling on insulin, the inflammation, because you're not eating all of the processed foods anymore. So you will lose a lot of really amazing levels of inflammation just by changing out your foods. And that is so helpful. Number 2 is to reduce the sugar and the processed carbs. We kind of already talked about that. That should be a given. People are always like, oh, your skin looks amazing. Well, there are 2 reasons for that. I don't skimp on my skincare. I use really good skincare. No question. Okay. And in fact, it's the organic ingredients that go into the supplements that I take and that I tell you about and that you take, those organic ingredients go into my skincare. It's literally supplements for my skin. Okay. So I do good skincare, but I also don't eat sugar. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't have a lot of puffiness under my eyes. I have normal 59-year-old puffiness. I've never done anything to my face ever. Never. I've never done a Botox injection or anything, whatever. And you can tell that, I'm not wrinkle free. Not at all. But I'm just saying that the inflammation goes down. The puffiness goes down because you're not eating inflammatory foods. So just think about that. If do it not because you're depriving yourself, do it because you want a different result in the way that your face is looking or the way that your body's feeling, or if you're feeling thick in your jeans. Nobody wants to feel thick in their jeans. Well, get that inflammation down. You'll start feeling better very quickly in how you feel in your clothes. Your skin will look better. Everything starts to look better. Okay. Exercise, of course, because you're getting your lymph system moving. Any exercise is good, and it can just be walking. It doesn't have to be something outrageous. Stress management. This is kind of huge, and I do talk about this a lot. I don't think we understand the fallout of stress in our bodies. I know somebody who was so stressed out. This is way back in the 90s. So it's a long time ago, but she was so stressed out at her job that she didn't know how high her blood pressure was. And she started to bleed out of her eye. So I'm just telling you, stress has a very detrimental effect on your body, but it is also raising your cortisol and it's raising your insulin resistance. So you have to deal with the stress. And so I have people that'll come to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that, we've connected, and they've started to supplement and they've started to change out their foods because they went through a really hard divorce, or they took care of a patient with a parent with dementia, which I have done. And I know how stressful that is. So if you're stressed out and you're losing sleep, you have to fix those pieces. Okay. Sleep is the next one, and then supplements. So the stress management, if you're high in cortisol, I just want you to know I have a phenomenal ashwagandha. phenomenal. And just listen, if you're going to go and you're going to buy supplements, you want them to be third party tested. You want them to be, like everything that I have that I offer people, it's coming off of organic farms. Who can afford organic food? It's hard to afford organic all the time. But you know what? You can get it condensed and put into, ashwagandha is a plant. Do you really want that sprayed with glyphosate and then turned into a pill and now you're taking it? You don't want that, right? So you want instead to have something that's coming off of an organic farm. It's third party tested. It's safe because it's not a regulated industry. But I'm just telling you, you also want to break down in your body and to make a difference. So I was out of my ashwagandha for like a whole week now, and I just got it yesterday. And I'm just like, ashwagandha just gives you a sense of well-being. It helps with sleep, stress, and mood. So now supplements for inflammation, turmeric. If you do not have a turmeric that's actually absorbing into your system, reach out to me. And the reason why I say that is because most people don't know that turmeric is not highly absorbable. You actually have to have something that is created scientifically to get into your body. So the turmeric that I take and I talk to you guys about, you'll see it. The claim is 45 times more absorbable. Taking 400 milligrams of what I take for turmeric, it's a nice bright orange. And it kind of smells like they mix it with fenugreek. So it almost smells a little bit like maple syrup because fenugreek has that smell. It's a really good smell. Anyway, 400 milligrams of this is like taking 6,000 milligrams of another brand because it's an extract and they've created it so it's very absorbable. So instead of taking IB, you could be taking turmeric. Way better on your liver, your kidneys, etc. Okay. I see that, Wendy. Hold on. That's a really good point. So turmeric, I have that. I have a really good fish oil. That's the second one that they're recommending. You want a fish oil that's wild caught. If you're not going to eat wild caught, like I just bought shrimp from Aldi's, what is it? Argentine wild caught, Argentina. I think it's just Argentine wild caught shrimp. Look for the shrimp that has wild caught. $10 a bag, peeled, deveined, tail off. This one happened to be fully cooked. Usually I buy raw, but fully cooked, $10. Perfect for my husband and I to split. High protein. Made a little bit of a cream sauce with basically just some cream and real Parmesan cheese, garlic powder, pepper, and the shrimp, and then poured it over spaghetti squash last night for dinner. Beautiful dinner. Tasted freaking amazing. Yum, right? But you want wild caught. So the same thing with your fish oil. If you're buying a fish oil at a drugstore or a mart or whatever, and it's not wild caught, don't do that. Like you're doing the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish, even in the foods that you're buying. So I have an excellent wild caught omega-3 and then probiotics. And any of you that are doing the gut reset, you're doing the gut protocol of the primer and a probiotic, you're already on course. You're all ready to go. So those are really helpful for inflammation. Turmeric, fish oil, probiotics. Turmeric, fish oil, probiotics. So I just have a little bit of something for everybody on that one. But anyway, okay, hold on. I know that I'm missing. Okay. I got to go back. I apologize. Okay. Lori, did I answer the question about the orange? I think I did. That was kind of a ways back. Let's see. Okay, Wendy's getting it. Wendy's jumping on the orange pixie stick. How long was she on the program? Okay, hold on, Wendy. What program? Tell me what I was talking about. You missed the name of the fat burner. Can someone please tell me? Yes, on my website, look up Ignite. Or just put in blood orange. You were eating almond tortillas and you didn't realize it had 17 carbs. It does. So, okay, I'm going to give you a little tippy tip on that, Wendy. Hold on. Tell me again the differences between the lean and the ignite. Cheryl, hands down, I'm actually going to phase out the lean muscle. Just going to tell you, I'm still taking it, but I'm going to phase it out because I'm doing the blood orange extract instead. So I don't just keep on adding, right? Because you don't want to take listen, I'm a business owner. I'm going to test everything that gets launched. I need to know, not everything. I shouldn't say that because there are things that I'm obviously not going to test. It doesn't matter. But when I find something that replaces something, I'll definitely tell you about it and tell you why. I have seen great results with the Ignite. And so I just really want to continue that. And also too, I feel like the science on it is really stout. To be really honest, one of the experts is coming in. In June, when we went to headquarters in Michigan, we got to talk to an expert about the coming launch of the gut primer and the fat burner. And that was phenomenal. Well, we just found out yesterday or the day before. So if you're in Minnesota, please let me know because we have this expert coming for a customer event in December to give a lot of deep clarity to how you can really get your body to level up on a whole nother whatever. I mean, his information for me, you guys, I'm such a freaking geek. Maybe everybody else is too. I don't know. I've always apologized for my geekiness, but it's just because it comes from an honest place of, I'm so tired of being lied to. I'm so tired of being marketed to. And I want to know, what did God give us? I want to know what God gave us to turn back our bodies. This is where I am in my brain. And so when I find out things scientifically speaking, and they're like, yeah, we've got whatever, that excites me because then that tells me that even if PHARMA wants to try to replicate it, you really can't make a synthetic of what God has done to get your body to function. And we're trying to turn back. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be super bold, super blunt. We're trying to turn back all of the lies and all of the misinformation that they've given us and all of the trash advice that they've given us for all of these years that have kept us sick and medicated as an insulin resistant person. This is ridiculous, and now they're cashing in on, all sorts of, scripts and whatever. And it's I don't know. That's why I want to know stuff like that. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do, Cheryl, and I'll keep you posted if I have anything different on that. So hold on. Matt, good to see you. If you don't normally eat cod, if you love to eat fish sticks back in the day, that's cod. So it's really good. True story, Kimberly. And you could take cod and you could, I don't know how you could take cod and you could bread it with the pork panko and fry it in butter. Just saying. Or put it in your air fryer. For those listening in, not for you. Kimberly, what are you saying? You're adorable. The girl who got her A1C down to a 5.1. Oh, I don't know. I don't know that answer, Wendy. I don't know that answer. It went by so fast. But I will tell you, so let me see if I can help you. What is the... I just did a reel about a testimony, but I don't know if I really was mentioning her A1Cs as much as I was mentioning she lost 20 pounds. Amen to that. The girl who, okay. You guys are having fun over here. Matt, I don't want anything for Christmas. You've given me so much, Matt. I'm so good. I just love that you show up and that I can just love on you. No problem. Nothing. I don't want anything, Matt. I want you to get your donation. That's what I want for Christmas. I want you to get your kidney. Okay. Oh, the story that I was telling about. So I don't think it was Kimberly, but that is a really good story. So she found out that she didn't even know she was type 2. And so now this is about 4 years ago. And she found out she was type 2 because her A1C was 13 and she had a stroke. And so then they tell her she's type 2. So she works with her doctor. She gets her A1C down to, that's why I don't think it was a story, because I didn't talk about her A1C so much on that one. I think she got it down to like a 6.9 with her docs, but she could not get her morning sugars down and she could not lose 1 pound, even though she was on meds. She was on berberine, she was on inositol. And when she connected with me over the trio and started taking the trio, which are the 3 supplements that help with insulin sensitivity, she started taking those. And in 2.5 months, because you're filling in nutritional deficiencies and you're lifting up the hood of your car to get your body working again, you're getting your engine working again. I'm just telling you, this is how I visualize this. It's putting the power steering fluid into your power steering. And you know what that's like. I think unless you drive new cars all the time, you know what it's like to have your power steering goes out and all of a sudden you literally, like, it takes all of your might and energy to turn the wheel to get into a parking space or to get out of a parking space. That's how I view taking the trio, the 3 supplements. That's how I view that. You put that in there and your body, your engine starts back up again. So she starts the trio, and in 2.5 months, her morning sugars go down 30 points and she drops 14 pounds. It's just filling in deficiencies and it's getting your body functioning again. It's starting the engine again. And I think that if we can, I just have all sorts of weird visualizations in my brain, because I think about how, we're thinking about, like, our liver is up. It's right. If we have pain in our liver, it's in our upper right side here, if we have fatty liver. And then we've got our stomach, and then we've got our pancreas, and we've got all of these. It's all connected. And so starting with, like, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that excites me the most when I'm talking about this gut primer, and this, you may not even know this. You might even be on the gut primer and you don't even understand this. Because they put the alkaline spices in here, that's why it's good for your oral health. Because when you drink it, it's getting alkaline in your mouth, because we have such an acidic diet. Like, think about if you're drinking a Diet Coke every day and you're drinking all of the carbonation and you're drinking all of the acidic, such an acidic environment. You need good bacteria in your gut. You need an alkaline environment. You need all of these things. Like, there are certain kidney stones that come from an acidic environment. It's acid in the urine. And so when you can prime your gut and completely change the ecosystem of your gut, what's going on, man, you have so many benefits that come from that. Your goal is in the 5.1 A1C. You're in it for the long haul. What's your A1C right now? Shella, the trio are 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. This is what I started with 10 years ago. I don't have my 3rd one. Hold on. I'm going to go get my 3rd one. Hold on, because I forgot to put it in here. Oh, that's hysterical. Okay, hold on. I didn't put it in there because it's literally right up here. So hold on. I'm such a geek. What can I say? So I was going to say something. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Now I always tell people, don't take my word for all of this. Seriously, you guys. I don't know where else to put all of the testimonies yet. I just don't. There's a Facebook group. It's called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. You can get onto my site right here. Scroll up. There's a Facebook blue button. Do that. Guide number 4. If you are already in the group, guide number 4. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Guide number 4 in the group. Testimonies. 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. I started these about 10 years ago, a little over 10. They've fully supported me in losing 3 sizes in my 50s. When your insulin and your sugars are high, you can't lose weight. When your liver is tired and toxic, you can't lose fat. sugars and insulin, liver, visceral belly fat, and metabolism. Like, I'm just telling you, okay? So that's what that is. If you are on Instagram, at the top of my Instagram page, which is, I'm the same name everywhere, Kirsten Liebelt, Kirsten, Liebelt, Lie, as in you lie down, and then you put a belt on, Liebelt, Kirsten Liebelt. And you go to my Instagram page, you might see Kirsten Fragali Liebelt on there. That's because my maiden name is Fragali, Italian. So go there, pink highlight bubble at the top of my Instagram page. And you guys just give yourself 5 minutes and look through the testimonies of the trio. Look through the testimonies. I just started a highlight bubble for the gut primer. And as I get more and more testimonies on the fat burner, I will put those also. Okay. So we'll just start collecting testimonies, but it's so important that you get encouraged in your own heart and that you actually get connected to a story that resonates with you. You might not be needing to get your morning sugars down because you might be barely insulin resistant enough just to know that you have belly fat. But you might be somebody who's been stuck in your weight forever, can't lose 1 freaking pound, even though you're keto, and you see somebody giving a testimony about that exact same thing and how they started to finally drop weight. Okay. So everybody has a different need, and you're in a different place on the spectrum of insulin resistance, if there's a spectrum. Okay. But I know every single day that if I share how you can get your engine going again, man, let's go. Let's get things starting to turn around. Let's do this. Okay. 6.1, Wendy. Okay. Kimberly, yes. Drinking alkaline water. Yes, you can do that for sure. Your donor and I both hate the bureaucracy. I know. I'm sorry, Matt. Yep. So what I don't know if I've ever mentioned before, Matt, is that I have quite a while ago when I was raising my kids, so this is about 20 years ago, my friend donated a kidney to my niece because she had a chronic kidney disease from childhood. And she now, the one who received the kidney, just had a baby. So it's very exciting. And she's living a beautiful, full life. So it's going to take 2 years to be approved. So the donor has a chance to nod if they change their minds. Got it. It's challenging, Matt. I know. Hang in there, though, for real. Like, believe that God has good things for you. You know, he says that he knows the plans that he has for you, and they are plans for good and to prosper you and not to harm you. So I'm just going to believe that you're going to get fast, speedy answers on some of that. I'll pray for that because it's a stinky situation, right? So let's see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. It's hard I shouldn't wear light clothing because then I can't read my comments. I should be able to make it black or anyway. So having said all of that, super interesting. Like, I really do want people to, ask yourself, what does it do for you if you can bring the inflammation down in your body? How does this change the way that you feel when you wake up in the morning? Right? It's a really big deal. So if anybody today, now, if you need help with the trio, you can always, like, there's a number up there on that site. You can text me, or you guys can leave messages in my inbox, Facebook, Messenger, all of that stuff. And just, you know what, if you want a cart with anything in it, let me know. Just say, I'd like a cart because I want to see what you're talking about, whether it's the trio, whether it's the gut reset protocol, whether it's the fat burner. You tell me what you want in a cart and I'll develop it for you. I'll customize it for you so we can have a conversation, because I want to make sure that I can, like, just help you. Like, don't buy stuff you don't need. Please don't do that. Narrow things down and streamline. Get things that you need to have. God put me in your life for some reason, whether to be a friend or give support or help you do better through diet. I'm in your life for a reason. Matt, that's fantastic. I love that. And I believe that. I really do believe that. I received the most amazing voice text yesterday from somebody, and I won't share it, but it was like, it's a really cool God story and how we got connected. And sometimes you just have to trust a process that you just can't see. I would say not sometimes, all the time. You just have to trust that you're, because it does take courage to start doing stuff online. It does take courage to speak out against systems. It does take courage to whatever. And I don't mean like it's the most courageous thing you'd ever do. That's not true. I think it's way more courageous to like join the military and go to war. So this is not that, not even close. But I will say you have a lot of doubt when you're doing stuff, right? So as you doubt and doubt and doubt and doubt, but then when somebody comes along and they give you the God story behind how they connected with you, or, how you've been able to see them have a healthier life and the result of that and what that means for their family or for their ability to hang with their grandkids or whatever it is, there's just nothing like it. This is really important because if we rise up and we step into what we're supposed to do and we help people the way we're supposed to help people, then there will be connections that we'll never be able to explain. And I love that part about God stories. So anyway, it's amazing. Carol, heart, heart, heart. It's so good. It's so good. You've said the same thing. Yep. It's a very cool thing, and okay, so I will end on this today. Just because I don't want to keep you guys any longer here. I will end on this. And I was saying it in my stories this morning, I heard this morning, that it is the Christian community in this nation that chooses to not go out and vote. And I'm certainly not going to tell you who to vote for. That's not my goal. But I will tell you that is so shocking to me. And I'm not really sure where we as the church decided that we didn't have to steward what God gave us. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. You guys, you have to vote. You have to vote. And I talked about how I remember in the Iraqi war when the Iraqis were able to vote. And I don't know how long they had been under the rule of Saddam Hussein and they didn't have a right to vote. Or I don't remember the history of it. I apologize for, not knowing that. But I do remember when they went to vote and they had the blue ink wells and they would put their finger in the ink well to show that they had voted, and what a big deal that was for them as a people. I just think that we are super lazy and apathetic, and we do not value what we don't understand. We don't know what it's like to live in a country where you actually don't even get an opportunity to vote. Or maybe you're concerned about losing your life at a poll, or you knew for sure that, whatever. I just don't think we value what we're so used to. We take for granted. And so I just really want to tell people, you guys, we're 2 weeks away from an election. And do you know that the presidency isn't even the most important piece of probably that paper? You have judges in your state, you have city council, you have school referendums that affect your taxes. You have many, many, many things that are going on locally and in your state that you need to take just 30 minutes out of your amazing American free life that you live, 30 minutes, and do a little bit of research into who's running for what, who's running for the school board and what do they stand for, and does it align with what you want? I homeschooled for 20 years and knew always that still what was going on in the public school system mattered greatly, because I'm still paying taxes, right? As a homeschool mom, I was still paying taxes and then paying cash out of my pocket to school my children. Okay, so you have to just think about that. So I just want to encourage people, just take the time to consider, if you've never voted before, if you are kind of laissez-faire about it, make this the year that you're not. Make this the year that you find out who's going for mayor, city council. The judges are the biggest deal across the nation. They make so many decisions. And then, of course, research who you want to vote for, when it comes to, a senator or a U.S. representative or the presidency, whatever. But this is a really big deal, and it is offered to us as a gift. It is a gift and a privilege that we get to go and vote. And I sure hope that if you are a Christian, you don't sit down on your couch and binge on Netflix and then don't go vote. I really do. And I might sound super like whatever, but I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't even fathom not voting. Cannot fathom. I voted all of my life. My family votes. Like, this is what we do. Like, how often do you get a voice? Not that often. So you got to go for it. Yeah. You couldn't agree. Yeah. Yeah. You have to. And if you think that you are in a state that doesn't matter, just stop it. Just stop it. Because you know what? No matter what I'm not telling you anything. I'm just telling you, it all shifts. It kind of, there's a river, right? So not all things stay the same. If I thought that my one little tiny voice in this little tiny pond on social media, when there are 8 billion people on the planet, if I every day got up and did not think that my voice mattered, even if I'm only talking to 3 people, then how would I ever talk to Matt, who's on dialysis waiting for a kidney? If I always thought that my voice was so small, so tiny, and it never mattered, how would I ever connect with people that God wanted me to connect with? You have to have that thought process, and I'm hearing a lot of people talk about early voting, and some people say that that's not a good idea. I don't know that I agree with that. And I'm just learning myself. I've never done early voting, but I am doing some research into it just in terms of, there are things that can keep us from voting on voting day. And especially if people are like a single mother and it's hard to get to the polls with 3 small children, or if somebody can't take off work because they're going to literally lose money because it's not the law, even though some states do like have protection or whatever, or they tell their employer to pay you to go vote. Not everybody has that. So no matter where you are, stop letting the narrative in your head be that your voice doesn't matter, whether it means that you go on social media like I do and I talk about insulin resistance every day, or you get to the polls and you vote, whether it's early voting and it's today or it's on Tuesday, November 5th, or stop believing the lies that your voice doesn't matter. And I don't know what that means for you. And somebody's hearing me and you're applying it to what needs to be applied to in your life. And I don't know what that is, but somebody's hearing that. Stop playing small. Stop thinking your voice doesn't matter. That is ridiculous. And you have to push past that and stop caring what other people think and go and do what you're supposed to do. And then thank God that you live in a free country. Have some gratitude that you live in a free country where tomorrow morning you could go to church and you could worship if that's what you want to do. Where you can choose how to educate your kids and you can choose what state you want to live in. You can choose where you go and what car you drive in and all of those things. Just have some gratitude in life and it will take you very far. But then you have to take the responsibility for the free country. And maybe I think about that too, because my nephew died in the Iraqi war. He was 21 and he was done with his tour and he re-upped. And then he was killed by an IED on the top of a tank. So I'm keenly aware every single day of the freedoms that I have in this country to raise my kids the way that I want to raise them and to be able to live in a free nation. And not everybody can say that. And so maybe I know that I've heard very briefly, and I don't know enough to speak intelligently on the topic, but I heard that there's some pretty icky stuff going on right now in Cuba, and where the electricity is getting turned off for days on end and they don't have refrigeration, et cetera. And that means that food goes bad for the babies that need the food, blah, blah, blah. Again, I haven't done a deep dive study, but I'm just telling you, we don't even think twice about how everybody's living in their countries. And so we got to wake up. Anyway. All right. Did you do early voting? Way to go, Matt. Way to go. Got to make your voice known. You have to. Yes, vote local. You have to vote local. You have to think about who's running for what. So anyway, all right. Have such a super blessed day. Tomorrow we'll be back at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time right here on all of the socials. And then Monday night in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will do the Self-Sabotage No More series. So bye. Oh, thank you, Carol. You're so sweet. And it was a while ago, but it's like, changes how you view things, doesn't it? Makes me a grateful person every day. All right, you guys, have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you need anything, you know where to find me. It's pretty easy.